This is Black Views, bringing you the Black news. This is BJX, and so today I have a story for you. The story is pretty much a piggyback off of yesterday's story where I talked about white supremacist Mr. Andrews, who basically killed off 8 Asians, went on a killing spree, went to 3 different spas. He was finally caught up with. They performed a pit maneuver in order to apprehend the suspect. Now, today there's backlash because of the sheriff that spoke before the media, basically indicating that this white supremacist had a bad day. So stand by, listen to the video, and I will come back for my commentary. Thank you.
We have new information this morning on the attacks around Atlanta that killed 8 people on Tuesday, including 6 Asian women. The suspect, 21-year-old Robert Long, is charged with murder and aggravated assault. But one police spokesman is taking criticism for his public response as investigators say they are not sure if the attacks targeted Asians. Mark Strassman is in Cherokee County, Georgia, for us outside the spa where the rampage began. Mark, good morning to you.
Good morning, Tony. This is where it began, where 4 people were killed, 2 of them Asian women. The suspect, Robert Long, told police he's a sex addict, not a racist. But there are plenty of people who believe that this was a hate crime. Robert Long's parents recognized him in these surveillance photos posted on social media and alerted deputies who began tracking his cell phone. They forced his SUV off the highway and arrested him 150 miles south of Atlanta. But not before they say he went on a rampage at 3 different Atlanta area spas.
A white male? What is he wearing? I don't know. Please call, okay?
8 people were murdered in roughly 1 hour, 6 of them Asian women.
This is still early, but he does claim that it was not racially motivated.
Officials said race did not appear to be behind the attacks.
He apparently has an issue, what he considers a sex addiction, and sees these locations as something that allows him to go to these places, and it's a temptation for him that he wanted to eliminate.
The working theory is a sexual addiction issue rather than a racial profile.
During our interviews, we asked that specific question, and that did not appear to be the motive.
But activist and author Helen Zia said authorities are missing important context.
Hypersexualization of Asian American women is part of the racism toward Asian Americans. And to say that sexual addiction is an excuse or a reason to go on a mass killing rampage is ridiculous. He's going to take the word of a mass shooter who happens to be white against the lived experience of the Asian American community.
Zia also said Captain Jay Baker's description of the suspect's frame of mind was outrageous.
And he was pretty much fed up and kind of at the end of his rope, and yesterday was a really bad day for him, and this is what he did.
I couldn't believe that a police captain was recounting the bad day that the killer had without a shred of empathy for the really bad day that the 8 victims and their families had, the incredible grief that the whole community is going through. And this is the kind of thing that makes people question law enforcement and whether they are really there for the people that they're supposed to be protecting.
Captain Baker is also under attack for an anti-Asian Facebook post of his last year. He talked up T-shirts that said, COVID-19, imported virus from China. We reached out to the Cherokee County Sheriff's Office for a comment, but we have yet to hear back. Gail?
Thank you, Mark. That was a moment, I have to say, when I was watching that news conference and he called it a bad day, and all I could think of was 8 people are grieving tonight. It's a guy that had an issue. He blames a race of people for his problem, and then he goes and eliminates what he thinks to eliminate the temptation that he has an issue with. It's outrageous.
It's a peculiar amount of empathy for a mass shooter.
It's humanizing the shooter. Yeah. It's humanizing the shooter once again.
Yeah.
And can I point out that the shooter is a white man who is alive after they knew that he'd killed 8 people.
And he was armed.
And he was armed, and they knew that too.
Okay, so you have heard the report that was given by CBS News. I appreciate their coverage. Thank you for the fair usage. So if you notice how the Asian representative or the Asian feminist spoke up on behalf of her people, notice how black people don't do that. And we don't have a leadership, a so-called leadership. First of all, we don't have black leaders, if you notice, and there's no leadership that's going to speak out about black issues. And they do, but the ones that do speak out, our country, our media has labeled them as terrorists, has labeled them as anti-Semite. So any black person that has a voice that speaks up, they have been labeled as racist so that the national community will not listen to them as a black spokesman. So when you start talking about Farrakhan, yes, even though he's the Nation of Islam, he speaks on black interests. He speaks on black American interests. And so what we have is our national media has labeled him as a negative anti-Semite, racist, someone not to listen to. And so this is what they do for our communities of people that speak up. Suddenly they're crazy, they're out of their mind, they're racist, and should never be heard from again. Asian communities speak up for theirs, if you notice. You saw how the Asian lady so eloquently broke down how there's no way this is a bad day. This is something that's, you saw how she stuck up for her own. So what I want to say is welcome to the party, Asians, because guess what? This is the exact same thing that sheriff did, outspeaking and overspeaking, basically trying to paint a picture of this young man as just, well, he just had a bad day. Like let's get this over with. I mean, he didn't really do anything. He just killed 8 Asians. Then comes out that this same guy has an anti-Asian page that puts out rhetoric disrespectful to Asians. So Asians, you guys need to stop looking at black people as your enemies, because basically we're the ones that buy your products. We're the ones that finance your kids to go to college. We're the one. Black people are the sole reason why Asians are professionals today. Why they're lawyers, why they're doctors, why they're all these different different type of careers, because we have paid the way, man. We have made their businesses successful, smiled up in their faces, and always showed up with a pocket full of money for their services. So at the end of the day, this is exactly what black people get. You're going to get someone up there, pretty much white supremacists. Like I said, when white supremacists are supervising, managing, or governing white supremacists, there's no justice. Okay? There's just no justice. And so now we have a plight of where Asians are being attacked. First they were being attacked by black people. Okay? Now suddenly they've been being killed by white people since they came into this country. Okay, they used to have groups of white gangs that will go out and destroy Asian communities. So since Asians have been in America, the only person that's ever killed Asians and really disrespected Asians were white supremacists. So the whole notion that black people are attacking Asians and black people are doing all this is really disrespectful. And I think the Asian community really needs to think about what they're talking about, because black people put money in Asians' pockets. Now, when the day comes that black people are tired of hearing this crap about we're attacking the people we give our money to, it's going to be a different day. It's really going to be a different day then. Then they're really going to be saying black people are disrespecting us and don't like Asians because we're not going to buy any of your stuff. Okay, so the same people who ask that you kiss at the end of the day, who you try to be like, who you're honorary to, are the same people that's been killing you. And you're the only one buying the smoke that black people are your enemies. Have a nice day. Like and support.